My brother stole my wife, but the truth I discovered later destroyed everyone. The text message arrived at exactly 2:17 a.m. Most people would have slept through it. I almost did. The house was silent except for the soft hum of the air conditioner and the distant sound of rain tapping against the bedroom window. My wife, Emily, was sleeping peacefully beside me, her head resting on my shoulder. For a moment everything felt normal, perfect, even. Then a notification lit up my tablet across the room. I usually ignored late-night alerts, but something about that vibration made me open my eyes. I got out of bed, walked across the room, and picked up the device. The moment I looked at the screen, my entire world changed. A message had synced from Emily's phone. The sender's name froze my blood. Ryan, my younger brother. The message was short. I love you. I can't wait until we don't have to hide anymore. My heart stopped. I stared at the words for several seconds, trying to convince myself I was misunderstanding something. Then another message appeared. This one from Emily. Soon. He still has no idea. The tablet nearly slipped from my hands. At that moment, I wasn't just reading words. I was watching 8 years of marriage collapse in real time. My name is Daniel Carter. I'm 38 years old. I own a construction company in Texas and spent most of my life believing that loyalty was everything. Family mattered. Trust mattered. Promises mattered. At least that's what I thought. Ryan and I grew up together in a small town outside Austin. Our father died when Ryan was only 12. I was 19. While most teenagers worried about parties and girlfriends, I worried about keeping food on the table. I worked night shifts, skipped college, paid bills, helped raise my little brother. People often said I was more like his father than his sibling. And honestly, I was proud of that. I loved him. I would have done anything for him. That was why the betrayal hurt so much. Not because he was my brother. Because he was the one person I believed would never hurt me. Emily entered my life 6 years later. She was funny, smart, beautiful without trying to be. The kind of woman who could make strangers feel comfortable within minutes. We met at a charity event. I remember seeing her across the room and thinking she had the most genuine smile I'd ever seen. 3 years later, we got married. For a long time, life felt perfect. Or at least close to it. We bought a house, built careers, traveled together, created traditions. Every Christmas we hosted family dinners. Every summer we took road trips. Every anniversary we returned to the same lake where I proposed. When people asked about our marriage, I always said the same thing. I'm the luckiest man alive. Looking back, I wonder if I cursed myself by saying it so often. The problem started when Ryan moved in. At the time, it seemed harmless. His apartment lease ended unexpectedly. He needed a place to stay for a few months. Emily immediately offered our guest room. I agreed without hesitation. Why wouldn't I? He was my brother. Family helps family. At first everything felt normal. We watched football together, cooked dinner together, spent weekends laughing and telling old stories. If anything, I thought it was bringing us closer. But gradually, small things began to bother me. Things I couldn't explain. Emily laughed harder at Ryan's jokes than mine. They developed inside jokes I didn't understand. Sometimes I'd walk into a room and conversations would suddenly stop. Whenever I noticed it, I told myself I was imagining things because the alternative was unthinkable. After discovering the messages, I spent 3 weeks pretending nothing was wrong. Those were the longest weeks of my life. Every morning I kissed Emily goodbye. Every evening I sat across from Ryan at dinner. And every second I felt like I was living among strangers wearing familiar faces. While they thought I knew nothing, I began collecting evidence. Messages, photos, call logs, bank records. What I found shattered me. The affair had started 11 months earlier. 11 months, nearly a year. They weren't just flirting. They were deeply involved. Meeting in hotels, taking day trips together, talking about a future without me. The deeper I looked, the worse it became. I discovered conversations where they mocked me. Conversations where they discussed how trusting I was, how easy I was to deceive. One message nearly made me throw my phone across the room. Ryan had written, "He's too busy working to notice anything." Emily replied, "That's why this is so easy." I read that message 100 times, maybe more. Every time it hurt exactly the same. Sleep became impossible. Food lost its taste. I stopped recognizing myself. The man in the mirror looked exhausted, broken, angry. But beneath the anger was something worse. Grief. Because betrayal isn't just losing people. It's losing the version of them you believed existed. And that loss is permanent. Then something unexpected happened. While investigating Ryan, I discovered another secret. One evening, after work, I followed him. I wasn't proud of it, but I needed answers. Instead of meeting Emily, he drove to an upscale restaurant downtown. I parked across the street and watched. A woman arrived 20 minutes later. She was elegant, confident, clearly wealthy. wealthy. Ryan hugged her, then kissed her. Not like friends, not like co-workers, like lovers. I sat frozen behind the steering wheel. My brother was cheating on my wife. While cheating with my wife, nothing made sense anymore. The next few weeks revealed an even uglier truth. Ryan wasn't in love with Emily. He was using her. At the same time, he was secretly pursuing the wealthy woman. Her name was Victoria, recently divorced, owner of several successful businesses, worth millions. Ryan believed she represented a better future, a richer future. Meanwhile, Emily genuinely believed Ryan planned to spend his life with her. She had no idea she was being manipulated too. The irony was almost unbelievable. The woman helping destroy my marriage was herself being deceived. I should have confronted them immediately. Most people would have. But I wanted the truth exposed completely. No excuses, no lies, no escape routes. So I waited, and I planned. 1 month later, I organized a family dinner. Nothing unusual, or so everyone thought. My mother attended. My uncle attended. Several cousins attended. Ryan arrived smiling. Emily sat beside him. Neither suspected anything. Halfway through dinner, I stood up. I connected my laptop to the television. The room grew quiet. Ryan's smile disappeared instantly. Emily looked confused. Then I opened the first folder. Messages appeared on the screen. Dates, photos, hotel reservations, love letters. Proof. Pure, undeniable proof. Nobody spoke. The silence was deafening. My mother's eyes filled with tears. My uncle looked like he'd seen a ghost. Ryan stared at the floor. Emily began crying. But I wasn't finished. Not even close. I opened the second folder. The room watched as Ryan's secret relationship with Victoria appeared on screen. Photos, messages, plans, promises, evidence. This time, Emily stopped crying. Instead, she looked shocked, confused, then devastated. For the first time, she realized she'd been betrayed too. She turned toward Ryan. Tell me this isn't real. Ryan said nothing, because there was nothing left to say. His lies had finally run out. Chaos erupted. People shouted. Questions flew across the room. Accusations, confessions, excuses. My mother sobbed uncontrollably. My uncle left the table. Emily demanded answers. Ryan couldn't provide them. For years, I'd imagined how confronting them would feel. I expected satisfaction, vindication, victory. Instead, I felt empty, because exposing the truth doesn't undo the damage. It only reveals it. That night ended with everyone leaving separately. No goodbyes, no reconciliation, just silence. Heavy, painful silence. When the house finally emptied, I sat alone in the living room. The same living room where we'd celebrated birthdays, Christmas mornings, anniversaries, family movie nights. Now it felt like a museum filled with memories of people who no longer existed. The divorce process began shortly afterward. It lasted almost a year. There were lawyers, meetings, arguments, paperwork, endless paperwork. Emily tried contacting me many times, sometimes to apologize, sometimes to explain, sometimes simply to talk. I listened once, only once. She cried for nearly an hour, said she'd made the biggest mistake of her life, said she never intended for things to go this far, said she still cared about me. Maybe some of it was true, maybe all of it was, but none of it changed what happened. Trust, once destroyed, doesn't magically return. Some bridges burn too completely to rebuild. Ryan disappeared from most family gatherings. My mother struggled with it the most. She loved both of her sons. Now she felt trapped between them. I never asked her to choose, and she never did. But things were never the same. Birthdays became awkward. Holidays became smaller. Family photographs stopped including everyone. One betrayal fractured an entire family. As for Victoria, she ended things immediately after learning the truth. Ryan lost her too. In fact, within a matter of months, he lost almost everything. Emily left. Victoria left. Most friends distanced themselves. His reputation collapsed. The life he'd tried to build through deception crumbled around him. I should have enjoyed seeing karma work. Instead, I felt sadness, because despite everything, he was still my brother. Or at least he used to be. The hardest part wasn't the divorce. It wasn't the betrayal. It wasn't even losing my brother. The hardest part was learning how to trust again. For nearly 2 years, I kept everyone at a distance. Friends, co-workers, potential relationships. I convinced myself isolation was safer. No trust meant no betrayal. No vulnerability meant no pain. But that's not living. That's surviving. And eventually, I realized I deserved more than survival. Healing happened slowly, painfully, one day at a time. I focused on my business, started exercising again, took trips alone, read books, spent more time outdoors. Little by little, the anger faded. Then the sadness. Then the obsession with understanding why. Because eventually, I learned something important. Closure doesn't come from answers. It comes from acceptance. 3 years later, my life looked completely different. The business had doubled in size. I moved into a new home. I made new friends. And eventually, I met someone. Her name was Sarah. Unlike Emily, she never tried to impress me. Unlike anyone else I'd dated, she valued honesty above everything. For a long time, I resisted getting close to her. But she was patient. And slowly, I allowed myself to trust again. Not because people can't betray you. They can. again, but because living without trust is a prison. One afternoon, years after everything happened, I received a message from Ryan. The first message in nearly 3 years. It was short, simple. I'm sorry for everything. I stared at the screen for several minutes. Then I replied, I forgive you. And I meant it. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean restoring a relationship. Sometimes forgiveness simply means refusing to carry hatred any longer. I never saw him again, but I no longer carried the weight of what he'd done. Today, when people hear my story, they usually ask the same question. What was the worst part? They expect me to say the affair, or the lies, or the divorce. But they're wrong. The worst part wasn't discovering who betrayed me. The worst part was discovering who never existed, the loyal brother I trusted, the faithful wife I adored. Those people were illusions, and losing illusions hurts more than losing reality, because reality can be accepted. Illusions have to be mourned. Sometimes I still think about that night. The rain outside, the dark bedroom, the glow of a tablet screen, a single notification, a single message, a few words that changed everything. At 2:17 a.m., I believed my life was ending. Looking back now, I realize something different. My old life ended that night, but my real life began. Because the truth, no matter how painful, is always better than a beautiful lie. And while betrayal broke my heart, it also opened my eyes. In the end, they didn't destroy me. They revealed me, stronger, wiser, and finally free. For more exciting and suspenseful videos like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Bye bye, see you again soon. Want to see an amazing 3D video with your name? Smiling face with heart eyes. Comment your name below now.